Well, hello, and welcome back to another live code and hanging out. I'm AJ O'Neill, and we are working on this issue, which is about server-side redirects for Google sign-in, because the web is a sad place, and it's only been 20 years. How should we possibly be able to figure out how to do a seamless login experience? Of course not. Of course not. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, first, hello to everybody. Welcome. Yeah, I said I'm AJ, all that. A word from our sponsor, but not really our sponsor, Mr. Mountain Dew. So pop it up, my friends. It is time for us to open focus, if my nails will work today. There we go. Okay, so brief summary of the problem. While I was building Auth3000, the initial hope was to provide this really nice, seamless experience. But because of the way that browser cookie policies changed, that's not possible. And so the initial architecture of it, to use client-side, open up the dialog, handle it, close it, stay on the same page, that's not, it's still useful in a particular case, but in general, it's not as useful. So I'm just going to take the server side, the redirects that need to take place, and just handle everything on the server side and have all the token and cookie stuff done on the server side. So that's basically where we're at. And since this is, one of our Hangout and Chat sessions, I'm not going to get too far off topic actually, because this one is work that does need to get done. I'm not gonna take any 20-minute tangents, but if we got a couple 2-3 minute tangent or something you want to ask me a question about, feel free. And we are just going to get going on this. Let's see. And this actually should be fairly quick. Famous last words. I don't know if I've ever actually held to that before, but what's going on here isn't really that complicated. So we have, let's see if I can get the demo up and running on this. Probably under public, there is some demo code here. And let's see, do I want to be on main? Let me double check on this real quick, because this is one of those projects where I don't know if I have pulled things in. Okay, good. So main is mostly up to date. This change is the change that I actually might not even need this, because this is moving server side anyway. So generate OIDC URL. We're going to take this function server side. It will also be server side at least. And so this is going to be used for Google. Yeah, so basically I'm going to copy and paste this function that I was refactoring this. I'm just going to take it to the server side, and we're going to generate the OIDC URL on the server side, do the redirect, and then send the cookie back. So I'm not exactly sure, 100% sure how that's going to happen, but it's going to happen in the lib oidc accounts.google.com index.js, which, or let me see, or do we have just a generic OIDC right now? No, we don't. Okay, so it's going to be the Google OIDC, although this could be made more generic for any OIDC implementation. All right. Oh, also, we're trying to get up to 10, an average of 10 people watching on Twitch at a time. So if you do like these videos, share them, invite people, especially on Twitch. I mean, YouTube too. I don't want to play favorites too much, because most of the audience is on YouTube, but I think it'd be cool to get to the next level on Twitch. The gamification is working. All right, so essentially, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. We can just write some plain vanilla JavaScript. I'm going to do IDC. I'm going to call this index.js from OIDC here. And I'm just going to copy some of that code over, and we're just going to test it out. So maybe I'll rename this stuff to OIDC. We'll see what's missing once we get in here. Generate auth2 URL. That's not one we need. Parse JWT, parse query string. I don't even know why I wrote this parse query string. I'm going to put a comment for myself here on this. New URL search params query string. That's what we should use instead here. Web moves so fast these days. Yeah, query stringify and parse query string no longer necessary in the browser or Node for any evergreen browser. It's been in Node since V10. It's been in V8 probably about as long. So that's, that's a few years. That just, I hadn't known about it until recently. All right, I'm just going to start by copying this over. But what are y'all up to tonight? What are you doing? Happy New Year, by the way. Okay, so let me double check that this works the way that I think that it works. If we have, let's say, foo and bar, and we do new URL search params dot, is it toString? Yep, that's it. So there you go. There's our stringify function. I am going to keep it wrapped in a function for now, just because. Just because. And let's do this. Foo bar becomes foo equals bar. Let's see, Baz, Kooks. Just so we're all aware. I guess I need to update my version of JS Hint because it shouldn't be giving me a warning about that. Let's see. Okay, good. New version of JS Hint does not give me the warning. Excellent. Hello and welcome. I'm AJ. We'd love to know who you are, what brings you to the channel tonight. We're just going over some, basically this part right here that we're going over is when you generate a login URL for Google sign-in, there's just a few different parameters that you need to have in it. And we'll just use, I don't know why I didn't do this before. We could have just used crypto dot. I'm going to put this in here too, but I could use crypto dot random UUID. I think that would be appropriate. I forgot what I was saying. I was saying something. Yeah, we have to generate the string with a couple of different parameters, the URL, and I had this code for the client side and I'm moving it server side. So this should just be, whoops, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I hit the wrong button, sorry. Crypto.random UUID, window.crypto.random UID. This would be better. So I'm just going to add a comment to myself there and go ahead and do that here. All right, so yeah, crypto.random UUID. Not that it really matters that much. And since I am in Node, I'll just go ahead and use let for these. Why not? Maybe because it's better to use var, because var is more consistent and less buggy. Maybe that's why. Okay. We got any comments? I do respond to comments. They don't have to be 100% on topic. Feel free to ask questions, especially the dumb ones. I probably will only heckle you a little bit, depending. I actually would prefer to use a template string here. I think when I started this, I was much more against template strings, and now I'm kind of coming on to, well, now they actually work in browsers, and I actually, it wasn't even that. I mean, it's good. Now that they work in, I would not recommend them if they didn't work in browsers. I don't like using JavaScript that isn't actually JavaScript. If it's fake JavaScript, if it's some hypothetical, maybe future, maybe not version of JavaScript, I don't like to use that crap. But just somebody made a really good point about the distinction between string concatenation and numerical addition, and this just makes it easier to distinguish between the two. So there are some cases where it doesn't make sense, but there's a lot of cases where it does these days. All right, so what was rand supposed to be? I think it's just state. I think we could just do this. That's what I want to do. Yep. Get rid of some garbage. Okay, and then same thing here. I don't actually like how large the random UUID is, but yeah, same thing. Let's just get rid of that. But I mean, again, we could take just half of it. You know, we could say, okay, get rid of all of the. Yeah, in fact, let's do that. Let's just say, okay, we'll just replace all of these with nothing. There you go. And then we could only, you know, we could just take slice 1 through, I forget how many characters it is. But I really do like the idea of ulids better. Or using base 62 instead. Although base 62, you know, you just chunk it out into 32 bits. Anyway, let's see. Options. And then here's our query stringify. Okay. All right, this actually looks a lot better now. So this function is pretty simple. So we're generating a state, we're generating a nonce, we're creating our params. I'm going to call these params instead of options. Oh, no, wait. This should be called search, technically, because it's a search string. Well, you know, you could look at it different ways. No, I'm just going to back it up. There's no need to change that type of name for this. We can leave those the same. Did I get a question? I saw something pop over here. Oh, no, it was something on Twitter. Let me see what popped up on Twitter. Also, I'll give you all a link to the Discord if you want. Let me just pop that up real quick. Go over here. So if you want to be able to discuss things later, or you want to be able to post links, here's the Discord for that. Oh, hey, welcome to those of you joining in. Okay, what am I? So the OIDC base URL is going to be the accounts.google.com, yada, yada, yada. Client ID is going to be the Google client ID, which is a huge thing. Redirect URL, that really should be, I think it should be the referral URL. I think that's what we want this to end up being. No. We want the redirect URL to actually be, because there's two different redirects that are going to happen. So we're going to open up Google, we're going to redirect back to the server, we're going to redirect back to the front end. And so we need two redirect URLs. And for right now, the one should be more or less hard-coded, the value that the server is going to generate when the server boots up. So it's going to be the server's base URL, app.example.com/API/OIDC, That's going to be what Google should redirect to. And then there's going to be the client-side URL, which is what this should redirect to. So there's going to be, I guess, 3 redirects during this process. To Google, back, and then to the, yeah. Okay, and we don't actually need this one, right? I think that's what we decided. We don't need this one here right now. So just this. That's all we need for this. Really? We don't need anything else? Let me check and see. So we got the query stringify. That's basically simplified down to, should that be a parse? URL search params. I think that's actually supposed to be a parse. Hold on, let me look up this real quick. OIDC is OpenID Connect. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Mechlazine. Let's see. Entries. No, that's not what I want. I want the parser. Do we have a parser on this? Does it have the parser? Param string. Oh, interesting. So this does it either way. You can pass an object or you can pass a param string. And you can call toString. Can you call toObject? Or toJSON? Shouldn't use MDN. W3 Schools is much better. That's what the pros use. Actually, so this is Ryan. He's trolling me. He is the one that's commissioning this work right now. W3 Schools is often better than MDN because MDN has become a cesspool for people to show off their technical prowess and how to do weird crap that you shouldn't do. Whereas W3 Schools is a little bit more straightforward with a lot of the things, not all of them, but a lot of things are, if you're an average Joe, TLDR, here's how you do it. Whereas MDN is, here's every weird possible thing that you could ever do with this, regardless of whether or not it makes sense. And so I've kind of become ticked off at NPM lately. Or not NPM, MDN for that reason. Okay, so that was the stringify. So what if we want to objectify? What if we want to parse? Let me see if we've got a good solution for this. Maybe it's still in my node history here. Do we have toJSON? I bet we don't. Because why would you? Why would you? Why would you want for this to be easy? Okay. So, yeah, this is what you can. Do we have for each on this? Do we have reduce? No. So I think what you can do, this is stupid, array.from. Is that it? That doesn't seem like that's quite right. But maybe you do, is it like this? No. I think in JavaScript, maybe, can you do it like this? Okay, weird. Or, let's see if I could do it. There's another way I think you can do this. Iterators in JavaScript are so tarded. Nope. Now do I do it like this? There's some weird, stupid thing that you can do. Yeah, I don't want to deal with this. Let me look at the docs again. Entries returns an iterator. Okay, so there is a for each. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. Oh, wait. Key value pairs? Okay, so we could do values. And then there's a way to get around the iterator nonsense. I'm trying to remember what it is. Obviously, this works. Like, what was it? Like that. So that works, apparently. Values. Wait. What? So this one, we don't do that? I'm confused. Oh, because there's just one value, but it's not doing key value pairs now. All right, so we got to do entries. Now this is stupid. This is so stupid. All right, so we've got query parse is we take the search string and what do we do? URL search params. Do we need to call new on it? Let me see. These people just need to stop infighting with each other. If we're going to have nice functional features like map and reduce, then they should work on array-like objects. Okay, whatever. Let's see if for each will work. Let me try that. Come on. For each. Yeah, there is a for each function. Whoa, that's not what I meant to do. And then let's see. I think it'll be value and key. So console.log key and value should give us foo and bar, right? And then we get an undefined. All right. So here's what we do. This is silly that we have to do it this way. I'm just wondering, are they giving people the finger by not having a toJSON function on this? It just seems too intentional, you know. Because the obvious thing would be to have this as an object. If you're able to parse this string, the obvious thing would be to be able to have it as an object, right? Oh, I need to check one more thing in that other window real quick. So it seems a little too, I don't know if the correct phrasing would be too on the nose, but it just seems too, it doesn't seem possible that that accidentally they just forgot to make it JavaScript friendly and have a toJSON function. It seems as though somebody was trying to make a statement of moral superiority of iterators, but then the examples they show are with for, which is so weird because I thought the whole purpose of iterators is to be functional, and if you're using for, then you're imperative, and so then you're mixing your paradigms. Whatever. Here we go. And technically, I'm just going to put a note. Technically, the same key could come twice. So you see this in the PHP world where people do something like names is a key. So I'm just going to give an example here. And so then they'll have names equals AJ and names equals Ryan. But we're ignoring that case. All right. Okay, so there's our query parse. Here's our params. Cool. So we got those bits done. I actually don't need the query parsed yet. That's okay. General. I think those are all the functions that we need. I'm not sure about the URL. No, we don't need that yet because we're not doing anything with the tokens yet. So yeah, we don't need that stuff. Okay, cool. So we've got what we need. This is elegant. This one should have been similarly elegant. Just like this as a toString, this should have been a toJSON, and that should have been the end of it. I mean, I guess I could kind of, sort of, in a way, see the argument of, oh, well, we don't know what to do because everything could be an array. Well, that's fine. Then just say all values are arrays. That's sensible. And then somebody could iterate through and flatten it or whatever. But at least that would be a sensible choice, a choice that is agreeable. All right, so we're done with this. I guess I need to turn this into module.exports. And then we need to go create our endpoint that's going to handle this, and then we're going to go need to register that endpoint. So here, I'm thinking that this should be, Well, this doesn't quite feel right, to be honest. So this should be what? I don't even know what this should be. Login? To do, is this the right name? And then we need to redirect to Google sign in. And we will need to use that probably. And we'll probably also need here, do we have here the server name and that kind of stuff yet? I think we might have it in ops that's coming in. Is that? Yeah, we'll have to see. So we're going to need this redirect to Google sign in, which I think I need to double check on how we were using it here. Let me look at the use in the repo presently. So it's under public, it's under JavaScript, it's under main, I think. Yeah. And then we should see Google. This is it. This is the URL that we need for the Google sign in. Right there. Okay. So that's going to be it. So we need to make this function redirect Google sign in. Is that what I called it down below? I have to go check and see what I called it down below. And then we're going to take client ID and I'm just going to put the base URL here for now. This actually should come from the OIDC config file. Hey, what's up, programming with JavaScript? How you doing? And welcome to the others joining in. I'm AJ. If at any point you find this to be entertaining or educational or worthwhile of the old thumbs up, go ahead and give it one. Also, share. We are trying to get to an average of 10 viewers on Twitch so that I can so that I can be subject to their gamification and just, feed into the machine. They've got me. All right, redirect Google sign in. And so here, what we need to do is we're going to do OIDC equals require. I do not like doing the dots like this. Because this is a library, I'm not going to use base tag, but I just feel that this is it's a bad sign, in terms of structure of code. I wonder what happens though. Does npm allow me to require outside of a project's directory? Because what if the whole time I could have just been doing this? Right? Because that seems like that would make sense. But I wonder if that will actually try to do the file system from that path. Because this should be root of package. You shouldn't be able to traverse above root of package. I don't think that makes sense. Not for this sort of thing. Not for a require. I'm just going to see what happens if I do it this way. Was it lib OIDC? I'm going to be so, I don't know, happy and surprised if it works. No, it doesn't work. It should work because that's the root of the project. That is how we should be able to require things. But alas, we cannot. So where am I at? I need to go up one directory. I think I just need to go up one directory to this. And then we're going to have OIDC dot, and what was it? Lib OIDC index. I think I'm just going to rename all of this auth3000 in here to OpenID Connect. Okay. Oh, that's weird. Why didn't that one do? And then we just need it's just this one function, generate OIDC URL. So really, I think that should be passed in here as a dependency injection. All right, and then what are the things that we need to know for this? Let's just check and see real quick. OIDC base URL. We got that. OIDC base URL. I see a comment just came in. I'll check on that in a second. Client ID. Client ID. Redirect URI. Got to figure that one out. Scope. So this is one where we could take it from, let's see. I think we have to return a function on this. Rec res. I think that's what we're actually supposed to do. Yeah, here we're actually supposed to return a function that does the handling. And so we should be able to determine scope from rec dots, params, query dot scope. So I think this should work. And then login hint, same. I kind of want to pass, well, I guess we don't need arbitrary parameters for this. And then redirect URI, this one needs to be the referrer. So rec dot headers dot referrer. No, it doesn't. Sorry. Ah, dang it. State. So we have state that we have to generate. And this needs to, okay, so this needs to accept some sort of state, and that's going to get saved in a database. Okay, so that's where this is going to get a little tricky. How much data structure need to get a job in product-based company? Okay, you got to be a little bit more articulate with that for me to help you out. So how much data structure knowledge do you need to get a job? And I don't know what you mean by in product-based company. Do you mean in a company that creates a what kind of a product? I don't quite understand programming with JavaScript. But generally speaking, you don't need a whole lot of knowledge of data structures in terms of getting the job. It just makes you a better programmer. Understanding it to some degree. Okay, let redirect URI equals, let's state equals. So this is going to be server-side state now. Let me think about that. I mean, I guess technically we could encode, rather than having a random state value, we could say base64 encode state into the URL as, you know, we could just JSON stringify. I'm going to have to think about that one. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do for this. Rather than have a random state, we're going to have base64 encoded into the URL, or yeah, something like that. So we'll have, how should we do this? Let's keep this really short. Let's say the refer is that. Okay. To do this, we'll need a security check because we need to make sure the refer actually matches the app. But just to be able to test this relatively soonish, we'll put that there. And then we also just need something random. So we can do crypto random UUID dot replace, or let's just do random bytes, right? Isn't that, how do we do it in Node? crypto dot, is it random bytes? Or random int. That sounds good. How big of an int do we get? How about, what's our maximum 32-bit int? Just math.pow 2 to the 16th minus 1. Is that good? Let's go full 32. There we go. I think math dot, was it, is there not a, thought we had a max safe int or something like that, or maybe it's number. Does number have max safe integer? I think this one's actually big. Okay, can we do this? Can we do toString hex on that? Yeah, hold on. Let's go back to this one. Yeah, let's just do that. That seems like an all right way to go. So that gives us our random bytes that's big enough. All right, what is this complaining about now? Did I miss something? Random int. Typecast expression is expected to be wrapped with parentheses on line 29. Line 29. What? Okay, I obviously I'm missing parentheses somewhere. Okay, if I just get rid of that, do I still have this problem? I still have this problem. Okay, what did I do wrong? Ah, interesting. Typecast expression? Let me see. Typecast expression. I'm not really familiar with that. Okay, and redirect URI here needs to be some server value. All right, what we got? Do self-taught programmers get hired, or is it usually diploma degree, or is usually a diploma or degree mandatory? Absolutely not mandatory to have a diploma or degree. It depends entirely upon where you are trying to get hired. If you're trying to get hired at Google, then a degree is going to help you quite a bit more. But it's really, I mean, think about it this way. Would you want to hire a plumber who had a degree, or would you want to hire a plumber who had 5 years of experience? Would you want to hire a accountant that had a degree? Or, I mean, in the case of an accountant, there's legal requirements for that depending on the state. Or would you rather hire an accountant that comes recommended from a friend who's able to fix financial problems, with their record keeping, right? You want to hire people based on their ability to help you solve problems. You don't want to hire people based on their ability to sit and listen to someone lecture at them. So definitely, I would say degrees have very little bearing on getting hired, except for in certain industries. If you're going into, how do I say, real machine learning? Because there's the machine learning that isn't really, it's just the spreadsheet stuff, right? It's FB Profit. If you've learned how to use FB Profit, congratulations, you've learned machine learning, right? Now, if you wanted to write FB Profit, then you'd take a bunch of statistic classes and you would you might need the equivalent of a degree in order to write FBProfit. But FBProfit and pandas, they exist. And so you don't have to write them. And to use them certainly does not require a degree. A lot of the work that requires a degree, I'd say, it's hard to say most of it's already been done, because out of the infinite number of things that could ever be done, how could you say most of them have been done? But I'm going to say most of them have been done. And even then, it doesn't require a degree. It just requires you to have formal instruction. It's very difficult to get some of those concepts just... well, I don't know. I bet a lot of people are really good at that stuff just straight out of books without the degree. But it's the formal education aspect as opposed to the work aspect. Anyway, let me see what I've got going on here. All right, so we've got this login, but I need to figure out what the server is going to be. So I need to go back to probably about here. Is it here? Let's see where we have Google stuff. Ops. App ops. So I got to look at ops here and see issuer. I think issuer is the most appropriate thing to use as the server's name for itself. Let's see. I think I saw a comment just a second ago, so I'll look at that in just a second. Let's see, issuer. Yeah, I think issuer is supposed to be in the format of https:// if I remember correctly. Let me look at this. Yeah. Okay. All right, so basically what we're going to need to do for this is the redirect URL is going to need to be ops.issuer plus, and then it's going to be whatever this route actually ends up being mounted as. So I think it would be fair to say that that's going to be rec.url. And then this actually shouldn't be a post, it should be a get. So let me go back down to this, because I had this as a post, but this should be a get. And let's see. Except we want to swap out the login for something else. Or we want to have a parameter to set this. Maybe state. We could say, and then in which case, I don't think that login is the correct name for this. It should be something like redirect. Sure, that's generic enough. Let's call it redirect. All right. So this is going to be https app.example.com/API Authn. Oops. Session OIDC. This is getting a bit long. accounts.google.com/redirect. All right. So let's do this. So let's say, if not, and I'll respond in just a second to those. Just kind of trying to think through this for myself real quick. Let's say we got this here. Oh, it is time to put kiddos to bed, I think. Yes? Yes, sweetie? All right, I'm going to need to probably put a pause on this and come back for a second part.
Are you coming with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will. All right. let's see here. What was I doing? This is, I'll say initiate. So if we don't have a state already, then we're going to want to initiate. So kind of overloading a little bit here, but I think it's all right. So this will be our URL that we want to redirect to, and so we will do res dot, I think it's res dot redirect, if I'm not mistaken. I have to double check on that. All right. So with that, we basically handled the first leg of the trip. If this works, if all of this works, we've generated, in this state, sorry, this state, I'm going to have to do, what is it? It's going to be json.stringify, and then I'm going to do buffer.from toString base 64, and then dot replace all of was it this with underscore, no, plus with minus. This is one of those things they just ought to have in core. Oops. Slash with underscore and equals with nothing. There we go. So that's a little bit nasty. I'm going to clean that up because that's just too, ugh. Oh, it cleaned it up for me. Great. But I still want to clean it up. Okay, so that state is going to have to get passed in here somehow to do pass state, because that has the real redirect URL, but I need to verify that redirect URL as well before I even start any of this. Okay, so I don't know if we actually have res.redirect or if we set the headers and everything, but I need to go up for putting kids to bed. I'm going to get rid of the spammer. So block, and let me look at these comments that have come in. Feels good to be back. Hey, Altera, welcome. I'm new to programming, only JavaScript less than a year, and learning Python less than 2 weeks. I was going to jump into NumPy, Matplotlib, Pandas soon, not recommended. Sure, it depends. What do you want to do? You have to decide what you want to do and then figure out what to learn. Or just say, hey, I'm going to survey the landscape and figure out what I want to learn. But I personally, I don't think that, I don't understand this new explosion of Python, because Python is kind of, I don't know. If you want to get into the machine learning stuff, I think that Rust is a better language for it. It's more tuned to it. Python is really a slow and inefficient language. All of the Python libraries are actually written in C, not Python. But yeah, I mean, it just depends. If you want to get started in that direction, Python's a good way to go. I'm jumping in too early, I mean to say. Yeah, it just depends. You got to figure out what you want to do. And if that's part of your process of surveying the landscape and figuring out what you want to do, that's what it is. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let's see. We're going to do bedtime with the kids, and I don't want to try to rush that at all. So I'm going to peace out, and we'll be back in a little bit to continue on with the next part of this. Maybe we'll test this first. Maybe we won't. We'll see. But yeah, so we'll be on to the next part of this, where actually I think I might just try to do the whole thing and then test it and fix the bugs at that point, because there's only 2 or 3 pieces to this, so it's relatively small in scope. Anyway, all that said, I'm out. I hope to catch you again later. Be sure to like, subscribe if you want to. Hit the Discord. If you scroll up, there's the Discord link if you want to join in on that and be able to post links or ask questions later, that sort of thing. But I'm out. Adios. Oh yeah, I'll be coming back tonight.